For Sun Salutation A, we're going to start off just by looking at the poses that make up the salutation, and then we will start looking at how to flow between them. So the first pose is where we're all going to start, is in mountain pose. So you want to be stood at the top of your mat, ensuring that your weight is distributed evenly on your feet. So not all in the heels, not all in the toes. Sometimes it's nice to lift the toes, spread them out just to even out the weight a little bit. You want to have your crown lifted to the ceiling and draw your shoulder blades down your back. So we'll start in mountain pose. From here, the next pose to go into is going to be our forward fold. So to move into our forward fold from mountain pose, we're going to reach our arms to the sky, and then we're going to hinge forward at our hips. So the difference between hinging forward at your hips and hinging forward somewhere else is if I hinge forward using my upper back, I'm going down like this. But if I'm hinging forward from my hips, I'm trying to keep the spine nice and straight for as long as possible. And we're looking for that compression in between the chest and the stomach and the thighs. Now, if your hamstrings are tight, so my hamstrings are really tight, there's no way I'm getting compression with keeping my legs straight. So if you need to bend your knees slightly to get that compression between your chest, your belly and your thighs, then do that. Okay, so your knees can be bent as much as they need to, but we're working towards getting that stretch in the backs of the legs. So we're in our forward fold. We want to keep our neck and our head hanging loose. So forward fold. From a forward fold, you're going to go into a halfway lift. Now this is where we are going to straighten the legs, and we're aiming to get a completely flat spine. So when we're in our forward fold, we're hunching over, we're curling around the spine. In our halfway lift, we're straightening everything out. Now where you position your hands is entirely up to you. So you might want to just go onto your fingertips if you feel you're getting your straight back there. Some people prefer to go to their calves. Some people prefer to go slightly higher up. It's entirely up to you, wherever feels good. So we'll just have a quick look at that difference between the forward fold. So here I am in my forward fold. I'm compressing the stomach area into the thighs. I've got my neck hanging long. And our halfway lift, I'm straightening my legs, my back is straight, and it's not necessarily about it being like in a straight line as in a 90-degree angle, it's about the actual spine itself being long rather than hunched round. So forward fold, halfway lift, forward fold, halfway lift. The next part of the sun salutation is moving into a plank and lowering down into cobra. So this movement of going into plank, lowering down, is known as a chaturanga. So to start, find yourself on all fours. And for your plank, this is what we're aiming for. You want your wrists underneath your shoulders, hands spread out on the ground, so nice evenly distributed weight. And you're going to extend the legs back. So you're not sinking down, it's not like this. Your bum is lifted, but not so much you're in downward dog. Your bum is lifted, and there's a slight rounding between the shoulder blades. Have your gaze slightly beyond the top of your mat to get the nice long neck. If you come back into tabletop, and then we're going to try that again, going into plank. Other thing with the elbows, we don't want our elbows splaying out to the side. We want to keep our elbows tucked in and under. If you feel like your hands are wobbling all over the place, make sure the weight is in your thumb and your little finger. That gives you a good spread. So we're going to tuck under our toes and we're going to lift our legs into plank. Lower the knees. Now, if you find that plank with your knees lifted is just not working for you, when you are told to step back into plank in your sun salutations, there is always the option to lower the knees. As long as you're keeping that strength in the arms, you can still do the next part of the sun salutation. From our plank, the next bit is lowering down, so lowering through our chaturanga. I'll demo firstly how this would look with your knees lowered to the floor, then we'll look at how it would look with your knees lifted. So if we just step back into plank with our knees lifted to get that positioning, then drop the knees down and you're keeping the weight slightly rocking forward. So we want our arms to be really strong. If I was doing chaturanga with my knees lowered, I'm going to make sure my elbows are tucked in, and the aim is to lower chin, chest and belly in one straight line. So keeping those elbows tucked in, I'm going to lower down, chin, chest, belly, all meet the floor at the same time. If we come back into tabletop, so this time we're going to see what that would look like from a knees lifted plank position. If you want to keep practicing with your knees lowered, please do. So again, going to set up into our plank. We're going to tuck our elbows in, and that same principle of chin, chest and belly. I'm going to lower down, chin, chest and belly reach the floor at the same time. From here, so whether you've got knees lifted or lowered, from the floor, I'm keeping my hands underneath my shoulders and I'm tucking my elbows in still. And we're going to roll up using the back of the neck to guide us into cobra. I'm keeping a slight bend in the elbows and I'm putting the chest forwards. So this is our cobra. Then lower back down to the floor. To go into up dog, we're going to lower down, but not completely to the floor. So we're still keeping that principle of chin, chest, belly in one line, but we're not going to go all the way down to the ground. So we're going to step back into our plank. We're keeping our elbows tucked under, and I'm lowering down, chin, chest, belly, until I'm a few inches off the ground. When I'm a few inches off the ground, I'm going to pull forward like I would in cobra, and I'm going to push up, straightening my arms. Now the difference between up dog and cobra is that my thighs and my knees are lifted. I'm getting a more intense back bend. From our chaturanga, we then push back into downward dog. Now hopefully if you've watched my beginners and basics video, you'll understand how to set up downward dog, but we'll just go through that again just to be sure. So you're going to tuck your toes under, push your bum back to your heels and lift your hips up. Now you are looking for your heels to be aiming towards the ground, but it doesn't necessarily matter if they touch the ground or not. That's the direction we want them going in. The most important part of downward dog is getting that straight line from our tailbone to our fingertips. Now some people will need to have a bend in the knees to get that nice straight line. Some people may be able to extend the legs. So we want that nice straight line from tailbone to tips of your fingers. Take your gaze between your knees or between your thighs and let the head hang loose. So now we're going to put those moves together. In things like the Chaturanga where there's variations, take whichever one works for you. So we're all going to start at the top of our mats in mountain pose. Ensure the weight's distributed in your feet, ensure your crown is lifted high and your shoulder blades are down your back. We're going to inhale to lift up, exhale to forward fold at the hips. We're going to inhale for our halfway lift, exhale to lower down. We're going to inhale and step back into whichever variation of plank we want to. So either knees lifted or lowered. We're going to tuck our elbows in and we're going to lower down. Chin, chest, belly in one go. Keep the hands where they are, the elbows tucked in. We're going to inhale for cobra. Exhale, lower back down. We're going to tuck the toes under. We're going to push our bum back towards our heels and lift our hips up for downward dog. We're going to look forward. We're going to step our feet to meet our hands. Back into our forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to rise back up and find ourselves back in mountain pose. We're going to take that again and we're going to try and make one movement, one breath. So I'll tell you the poses, but try and match your breath to the movements. Okay. Going to start by reaching our arms up, forward fold, halfway lift, forward fold, step back, plank, lower down, chin, chest, belly, cobra, lower down, push back, downward dog, look forward, meet your feet with your hands into our forward fold, inhale, halfway lift, forward fold, reach to the sky and finish in mountain pose. We'll do this twice more, and this time I'm not going to talk. I want you to try and make each breath remind you of a movement, but I will be doing it at the same time as you go, so if you get lost just look back to the video and see where you're supposed to be. So we're going to do 2 rounds of it.